Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Faith, and today guys, I'll be reacting to Candace Owens as she gives us a short history of slavery. And you guys, I'm super excited as always. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. If you are ready, let's see what Candace Owens has for us in this video.
And now for a brief history of slavery. Here's the first thing you need to know. Slavery was not invented by white people. It did not start in 1619 when the first slaves came to Jamestown. It existed before then. It did not start in 1492 when Columbus discovered the New World. In fact, when the intrepid explorer landed in the Bahamas, the native Taino tribe hoped that he would help them defeat their aggressive neighbors, the Caribs. The Caribs enslaved the Taino and, on occasion, served them for dinner. Slavery existed in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. Wow. The word slave actually comes from the Slavs of Eastern Europe. Millions of them, all white by the way, were captured and enslaved by Muslims in the 9th century and later by the Ottoman Turks. Slavery existed when the Romans...
Wow, you guys, I never even knew that slavery didn't start from the whites. You guys, because the slave histories that we know or that we're taught painted the white men as the masters of slavery, and I never even knew that slavery started in Africa, Middle East. This is such an educating video. I love it so much because there are so many misconceptions about slavery and where it started from. Knowing this is such an eye-opener, and oh my gosh, I'm loving this video so far. So let's continue watching.
Slavery existed when the Roman Empire controlled the Mediterranean and most of Europe from the 1st through the 5th centuries. Slavery existed when Alexander the Great conquered Persia in the 4th century BC.
Wow.
It was so common that Aristotle simply considered it natural. The slave master model was just how the world operated in the great philosopher's day. Slavery existed during the time of the ancient Egyptians 5,000 years ago.
Wow.
As far back as we can go in human history, we find slavery.
Wow.
As renowned historian John Steele Gordon notes from time immemorial, slaves were a major item of commerce. As much as a third of the population of the ancient world was enslaved.
Wow.
Here's the second thing you need to know. White people were the first to formally put an end to slavery.
That's true.
In 1833, Britain was the first country in the history of the world to pass a Slavery Abolition Act. They were quickly followed by France, who in 1848 abolished slavery in her many colonies.
Wow.
Then, of course, came the 13th Amendment in the United States Constitution.
Okay.
After centuries of human slavery, white men led the world in putting an end to the abhorrent practice. That includes the 300,000 Union soldiers, overwhelmingly white, who died during the Civil War.
Wow.
Now, am I saying that this makes white people better than anyone else? Of course not. My purpose here is to simply tell the truth, and the truth is that human history is complicated.
Very complicated.
No one, regardless of skin color, stands guiltless. Yet today we are never told to consider the murderous Persian Empire or the cannibalism of indigenous tribes of North and South America or the heinous actions under the imperialistic Muslim, Chinese, Mongol, or Japanese empires.
Wow, you guys, I loved it when Candace said no one in the history of human stands guiltless when it comes to slavery, because if you check the history of this slavery, you find out that every continent, every country has been guilty at one point or the other. Every country essentially has suffered from slave trade or being a victim of slavery. I love that Candace is hitting the point and just removing that doubt or that misconception that slavery started by the white men, whereas slavery was stopped by the white men, essentially the British and the Americans. This is such an eye-opener, and I love this video so much. It's teaching me a lot, and I love that it's very brief and concise, straight to the point, and she's hitting the point one after the other. This is such a good one, you guys. Let's wrap this video up.
To name just a few, Instead, we're told that slavery is a white phenomenon. And like all persistent lies, this lie spawns a bunch of other lies. On social media, I come across extraordinary depictions about how Africans lived like pharaohs before Europeans came and laid waste to their paradise. I wish any of this were true, but it's not. It's a fantasy. The truth is that Africans were sold into slavery by other black Africans, and in many cases, sold for items as trivial as gin and mirrors. Whites didn't go into the interior and round up the natives. They waited on the coast for their black partners to bring them black bodies. The stark reality is that our lives had very little value to our ancestors.
That's true.
Here's the third thing you need to know. If you think slavery is a relic of the past, you're wrong.
Absolutely.
There are some 700,000 slaves in Africa today, right now. That's the lowest estimate that I could find.
That's true.
Other sources say there are many more. For context, that's almost twice as many slaves as were ever brought to the United States. Child soldiers, human trafficking, forced labor, these are the conditions that currently exist within the same sub-Saharan region where the transatlantic slave trade originated. African bodies are being sold today like they were sold then, and no, they are not being purchased by any country of white men. In fact, slavery, by any traditional definition, is exclusively practiced today within non-white countries.
That's true.
But we hear almost nothing about that. Just like we hear nothing about how slavery was universal until good people in Europe and America ended it 2 centuries ago. Why? Because our so-called leaders, black and white, wouldn't profit from it. Black victimhood is nothing if not profitable. It elects politicians and funds racial grievance groups. And if black Americans began to view themselves as partners in the American dream, if we embraced the patriotic spirit that holds all men are created equal, the patriotic spirit that is our real heritage, then the race hustlers would soon be out of business. And who wants that? I'm Candace Owens, author of Blackout for Prager University.
Wow.
Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
You guys, that was such a beautiful narration from Candace Owens. I really love this video. And what she said about slavery still on in Africa is nothing but the truth. What is going on in Africa today is sickening, is disheartening. And the other day, I was going through the news and what I saw made my heart stop for a bit. A woman was practically selling kids off for ritual purposes. She had them tied up in a sack bag as if they were just tubers of yam. Luckily for those kids, the woman was apprehended and they have to untie the bags, and what they saw will make your blood run cold. Kids were tied like tubers of yam. Their hands were bound and their legs were bound together. They couldn't even move. They just have to puncture a hole into the sack so they could breathe. These are people's children and they are being sold off for ritual purposes. Not that they're even sold for slavery, because if it's for slavery, maybe they will have a chance of living up to their old age. Or wow, this is so bad. And one thing that has been going on in Africa, aside from slavery, there are so many kidnapping. You can just leave your house and the next thing you will see is that you're already kidnapped. And sometimes these kidnappers ask the families to pay for ransom, and after paying the ransom, still goes ahead to kill these innocent victims and sell their bodies for ritual purposes. Sometimes you just find a lifeless body by the roadside with all the organs harvested. These are the things that have been going on and still going on here in Africa. We are walking on eggshells and we don't even know when to leave the house, or whenever you are traveling, you pray as if your life depends on it. And it's been going on. People are just so tired. People are scared for their life. The insecurities in the country is alarming. And you guys, there are so many things that have been going on in Africa that maybe the news or the media are not even talking about. People are being lynched for nothing, essentially. just because they just stole one tuber of yam. The government are totally silent about this whole thing, and slavery is still going on and it will continue to go on. You guys, I just feel that slavery is not something that is gonna stop now, except every country stamps their feet on the ground and says no to slavery, because there are so many hidden places where slave trade is still going on. Imagine somewhere like the northern part of Nigeria, here in Africa, where parents who are very poor sells off their teenage daughter or their underage daughter in exchange for money. Tell me that is not slave trade. You guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What are your thoughts about this whole slave trade? Do you think that slavery is still going on, or you just feel that it has come to an end? Let me know in the comment section. And I really enjoy how Candace Owens precisely narrated this story. It was short and very concise, and wow. I had fun reacting to Candace. And you guys, after listening to Candace Owens' short story on slavery, I can say that I now know what I didn't know of before. And wow, it was such an eye-opener and very, very informative. I really had fun reacting to Candice. If you guys totally enjoyed watching, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And this is me officially signing out. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.